Hey guys, it's Timmy, and this is Pro Wrestling Unlimited, as we are here on the 10th of March talking everything that went down tonight at WWE Fastlane. With that, tonight's show is gonna be, well, tonight's show was an interesting show. I actually, in all things considered, and in my opinion, thought Fastlane was way better than anybody actually expected it to be. I thought Fastlane came off really, really well. I thought the show hit everything and all the, high points it needed to hit. It had its moments where it was like, what the hell was that? Why did this happen? Like, the Mandy Asuka match was a nothing match. Okay, I'll just say that right now. But for what it needed to be, that's really all it needed to be. And now, is there dissension between Mandy and Sonya? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But again, I thought Fastlane was a way better show than anybody was probably expecting going in. And even the main event. Some people were messaging me today, what do you think the main event's going to be? You think the main event's going to be any good? And I was like, it's the Shield thing. We'll probably get the same old Shield match and this and that. And yeah, for the most part, we got the same old Shield match. It was just a Shield running around the arena, causing havoc, and, no rules really mattered. But I liked it. It was probably one of the better six-man Shield matches we've had in a very long time. So with that, let's see who's with us in the live chat, and then let's talk everything WWE Fastlane. Right now in the live chat, we've got Kristen McNutt, Henry McKenna Cavallo, we've got Jericho Cager, we've got Saeed Hassan, Nelson, CJ, Brandon Soriano, Angel Gonzalez, Marcus Ryan, Killjoy Army. What is going on, everybody? Thank you to everybody who is joining me here alive, and also thank you to everybody who was watching later right here on YouTube or listening over on iTunes. So with that, the Kickoff Show. I thought the Kickoff Show was actually rather effective. I thought the Kickoff Show did exactly what it needed to do, and it got a lot of things over as far as letting us know what kinds of things we could expect tonight on the main card. And it had an okay match. Could have been a little better, but it was what it was. Tag team match where we did see the New Day go on and defeat the team of Shinsuke Nakamura and Rusev. 123 Awesome says EC3 was on the watch along and they celebrate theater. They let him talk and it was funny. Well, they let him talk in the Kickoff Show too. He went back and forth with Sonya Deville, and I thought Sonya did really well. But I mean, all things considered, I think the Kickoff Show was good. I didn't watch the watch-along thing. I caught the first, couple of minutes of it, and I'm like, oh, they're not even showing the pay-per-view. It's just, you're watching people watch it, and half the time that I saw 5 minutes or so or whatever, they were barely even talking about the pay-per-view itself anyway. So I was like, who's going to watch this? I know within the first couple of minutes, there was really 8,000 people watching it, but, I mean, they're trying something. They see all the different YouTubers that do the watch along, so they're like, let's see if we can get a bunch of people to watch along with Pat McAfee and Kathy Kelly, Alexa Bliss, Devon Dudley, Christian, and I think the Iconics popped in from what I saw. Marcus Ryan says, what's up with the rumors about Mania having 16 matches on the card? I had a couple people ask me about that today, and I have not heard that. And I have not seen anybody that I would consider a credible source report that. So I don't know where that rumor came from. I don't even know if they know how many matches are going to be on Mania yet. I mean, we can expect, at least 10, maybe 12, if you count the 2 kickoff battle royals and maybe another regular match on the Kickoff Show. But 16 matches, I don't know. Again, I haven't heard that. A couple people came to me today and asked me if it was true, and all I had to say was, I don't know, because no one has told me that, and I haven't heard that from anybody. So, with that, give me 1 second, guys. All right, sorry, I had to fix my microphone. So with that, like I said, on the Kickoff Show, we did see the New Day defeat the team of Shinsuke Nakamura and Rusev. We were also supposed to get a second match on the pre-show, but that match didn't happen because technically it was changed and moved to the main card. So what happened was on the pre-show, we had a deal with Carmella and Zelina Vega. And they were both talking about why their guys, who they manage, I guess you can say, should get a shot at the United States Championship. We had Zelina Vega state that after Andrade defeats Rey tonight, he should be the new #1 contender. Carmella then had a very valid point stating, no, R-Truth lost his title and never got pinned. Who got pinned on Tuesday? Oh, that's right, Andrade. So Samoa Joe came up, who was like, girls, ladies, we don't have to argue. If your men have any problems with me or want to challenge me or whatever, they can just come to me themselves. Carmella had because you can't get the automatic rematch anymore, so Carmella was trying to get a petition signed to get R-Truth a rematch, which is very clever. And Samoa Joe, the best part of it is he signed it. Samoa Joe signed the petition. And then with that, Jonathan Coachman announces later on tonight, we will have a fatal 4-way match for the WWE United States Championship, where Samoa Joe will defend against R-Truth, Rey Mysterio, and Andrade. I almost said Cien Almas, Andrade. And I thought that match was hecka good. I thought that match was just all out crazy. Those 4 guys did all out crazy pretty good. So basically that was the main stuff that took place on the Kickoff Show. Like I said, they also let EC3 speak for like the first time on the main roster. AJ Styles joined Coach Sam Roberts and Christian on the kickoff panel. Excuse me. We saw, I guess it was like Kofi Kingston and, there was something else I forgot. So Kofi Kingston and Kofi Kingston and Kevin Owens kind of like had like a truce type of thing where they were like, Kevin was like, I didn't do this just to screw you over, but I know if you were in the same situation and got the opportunity, you would take it as well. No hard feelings, right? And Kofi's like, no hard feelings. So a man approaches, I don't know who this guy is, but a man approaches Kofi and goes, the McMahons want to speak to you about the WWE Championship match. And New Day's all hyped up. They're like, go. And so we go through the whole Kickoff Show and we hear nothing about Kofi's meeting with the McMahons. And fast forward a little bit, I'll just say what happens. The New Day walk up to Kofi and they're like, what are you doing just standing outside of their office? He's like, I've been told to wait. And they're like, wait, you've been here for like a week or an hour. What are you waiting for? Just go in there. And so they barge into Vince's office and Vince is like, where you been? I've been waiting for you. And my first thought was, well, who the hell was telling him to wait? That's the first question. Who the hell was telling him to wait? But anyways, Vince goes, tonight, the WWE Championship match, it's going to be a triple threat. Oh, and you two, you're barred from ringside. But your match is next, Kofi. So it makes everyone think that next up would be the WWE Championship match. And it wasn't, and we'll get to that when we get to that. As we start off here with the main card, we do know that the Usos were defending the the SmackDown Live Tag Team Championships against The Miz and Shane McMahon. This match, this is what it was, basically. We've got a $2 Super Chat donation from Kristen McMahon. I will answer your question as soon as we talk about this match, since that's the match we're about to talk about. So, before the match, Miz and Shane are seen backstage with the Miz's... ringside, my bad. With the Miz's father, George. They're hugging him at ringside. And the Miz shows that he's wearing a Cleveland Browns-inspired t-shirt that says, Cleveland is awesome. So early on, the faces have the advantage. The fans broke into a Miz is awesome chant. Faces used the heart attack on Jay for a near fall. Jimmy made a blind tag and caught McMahon with a clothesline. The Usos cut off Shane from a Miz and kept him from getting tagged in. Excuse me. So going forward, Miz hit a high crossbody to the floor. And I'm like, what the heck is this? Miz thinks he's an Uso or he thinks he's Shane McMahon. And he looks over at his dad to get some approval. And his dad's like, all right, good job, son. And he's like, I'm doing good. Daddy's approval. So Miz is all fired up here. And then the Usos rock Miz with his double super kick. But McMahon broke up a pin attempt. Usos then hit a Samoan drop neck breaker combo on Shane. Miz then hits a skull crushing finale on Jay, but only for a 2 count because the referee was checking on Shane first. Then by the time he was able to count, It was a little too late. Shane then climbs to the top rope. And you've got one of the Usos, I think it was Jay, laying in the corner. So Shane's ready to go for that coast to coast, and Jimmy climbs up on the other corner, right directly above his brother. And Shane's like, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And he's like, you do it, and see what happens. You do it, you see what happens. So Shane goes to jump. Jimmy goes to jump. And Shane basically drop kicks Jimmy in the gut in midair, and that could have gone so bad. That could have gone very bad. But both men were okay. The finish then came when Miz's father told him to climb to the top. Miz then went for a Leo Rush-style frog splash. But Jey Uso got his knees up. Miz awkwardly took the knees and then it was rolled up for the victory, where the Miz and Shane could not capture the championships. So after the match, I had always thought that the pressure of trying to get his father's approval was going to get to the Miz, and he was going to turn on Shane and just be like, I can't do it anymore, and just go heel. But that's not what happened. This was not what I thought was going to happen. So they go over to Miz's dad. Miz's dad's like, you tried your best. It's all good. Da-da-da-da-da. Fans were cheering for both Shane and Miz. They were in the Miz's hometown. And as they're going to walk off, Miz looks very, very upset that he let his daddy down again. And then Shane, just from out of nowhere, from behind, attacks him. Knocks down the Miz, rips off his Cleveland is Awesome t-shirt, and just starts to beat him down. Then he goes and gets in George's face. He grabbed George by the face and shoved him into his chair. He goes over to the Miz and puts him in a triangle choke and he's just like, look at your son. Look at your son. Watch him. And George is just standing there watching, and he looks over at some security guy and he's like, is anybody going to help him? Is anybody going to help my boy? And eventually Miz lets go. Or not Miz, Shane lets go. Walks up the ramp. Shane, I guess, is now a heel. George jumps the barricade, and the referees and whoever else were there to check on Miz. And that was it, basically. It was very weird. I'm just glad with all of Shane's sporadic punching, he didn't give Miz a black eye or knock Miz out, because Shane likes to throw some wacky, wild punches. So it looks like WrestleMania, it's going to be The Miz versus Shane McMahon. I've been saying that match was going to happen for a while, but I thought it was going to happen with Miz as the heel, Shane as the babyface. Not Shane as the heel, Miz as the babyface. So we'll see how it all does play out, but we're getting Shane versus Miz at Mania, and some people think that's a good thing, because that way they don't have to be in matches with other people, because everyone a couple years back was like, why are you wasting AJ with Shane? Why are you, and then last year, why are you wasting Daniel Bryan's big match back to team with Shane and this and that? And a lot of people are always like, well, Miz isn't that great. So you put two guys that no one cares too much about in the same match. It's like, well, now your better wrestlers can wrestle the other better wrestlers. But I think these two will try hard to have a decent match. Maybe they can go on early and just get it out of the way at WrestleMania. But Shane versus Miz, let me know what you guys think in the comments in the live chat. So then we go to the back. And you've got Drew McIntyre, Baron Corbin, and Bobby Lashley cutting their own Shield-style promo. It was weird because you can tell that it was a guy with a camera holding it, but they're like swinging the guy around to make it look like they're holding the camera, and the camera's like on a swivel or something. And so they all say a bunch of things, but basically that they're going to take down the Shield, and this reunion will not have a happy ending. In the ring, we then get Elias. He mocked The Miz and his father and buried Cleveland. He brought up LeBron James to a bunch of boos, and that was it. So then we get Asuka defending the SmackDown Live Women's Championship against Mandy Rose. Sonya Deville was also at ringside and played into the finish of this match. So Asuka was firmly in control, but Sonya Deville kind of tried to interfere more than once. Rose then nailed Asuka with a knee for a near fall. Rose locked on an abdominal stretch, but Asuka reversed into an octopus submission hold. Deville began looking underneath the ring, and she finally grabbed a kendo stick. But what she didn't do is she didn't pull the ring skirt back down. Remember that. Rose briefly gained control, but Asuka nailed her with a kick to the head. Asuka missed a hip attack into the ropes, and Rose nailed her with another knee for a 2 count. She attempted the Angel's Wings, and Asuka reversed, fought back, and hit a knee of her own. She left the ring. No, my bad. I'm reading the same line again. Asuka then hit a kick to the face of Mandy Rose when Mandy went to run off the ropes, bounce off the ropes, and she slipped on the ring skirt that Sonya Deville had left up. This then let Asuka hit a kick to the face and pin her 1, 2, 3. So essentially, it's Sonya Deville messed up. I don't know what she was going to do with the kendo stick, but she left the ring skirt up. Her partner in crime slipped on it, and there we go. She screwed her by accident. So after the match, you've got Deville trying to apologize, and Mandy's just like, I don't want to hear it, and she walks off. So I don't know if there's dissension between the two. Well, next up, we have what we talked about earlier with Kofi and Big E and Xavier Woods going into Vince's office. Vince saying we're getting a triple threat for the WWE Championship tonight, and that Kofi's match is next. So when he says, Kofi, your match is next, one would assume that's the WWE Championship. The announcers and everybody think it is. So Kofi goes out there, and they announce it. The next match is for the WWE Championship. It's a triple threat match. So Kofi comes down, and then the timekeeper goes over to Greg Hamilton, and Greg's like, wait, right now? Are you sure? And he gets back on the mic and goes, the next match is a handicap match. Kofi Kingston will be taking on The Bar. So we get The Bar versus Kofi Kingston. Kingston had a brief flurry of offense, but The Bar dominated this entire match. Kingston made a brief comeback and nailed Sheamus a couple times with hard shots. He came off the top, but Cesaro caught him with an uppercut. Sheamus hit a brogue kick, but Cesaro pulled him up instead of making the cover. There was a brief "this is boring" chant. The Bar set up for a second brogue kick, but the New Days tried to run down. As the New Day were running down the aisle, they were attacked from behind by Rusev and Nakamura. Rusev and Nakamura take out Xavier Woods and Big E as the Bar hit a double white noise on Kingston for the victory. I have no clue what's going on here other than it looks like they're just trying to keep saying that the McMahons are screwing Kofi. We're going to get sympathy from the crowd and go from there. I don't understand any of this. Like, are the Bar, Rusev, and Nakamura now all working for Vince? Is it the whole... I don't even want to speculate because I don't know. It's so confusing that it's hard to even speculate. But it does look like, all things considered, in the end, it's going to be Kofi challenging Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania for the WWE Championship. How that match does get set up, we'll see. It's got to get set up quickly. They only got 4 weeks until WrestleMania. And this is something that you need to have a good build for if you really want people to believe that Kofi can actually beat Daniel Bryan. So Charlie Caruso interviewed the Women's Tag Team Champions Bayley and Sasha Banks. They praised Kingston and told him to not give up. They promised to overcome the odds tonight and defeat Nia Jax and Tamina. In the ring was Elias again. He made fun of Kofi Kingston for losing, mocked The Miz yet again. He compared the New Day to the Cleveland Cavaliers and called them a bunch of beat-up losers. He said that his home team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, are the best, and a lot of people here booed. You don't bring up the Steelers in Cleveland. Kayla Braxton. Kayla Braxton goes to the back and she knocks on the door that says McMahon family. And she wanted to interview Shane, and who pops out is Shane. How did she know Shane was going to come out? How did she not know Vince was going to come out or Stephanie was going to come out? It was Shane, and she says, Shane, what was that earlier? You attacked The Miz after you guys' championship match. Do you want to comment? And he looks at her, and he's like, and walks off. He has no comment. So then we got hell of a match for the Raw Tag Team Championships with a scary moment in it. It was the Revival taking on Ricochet and Aleister Black, along with Chad Gable and Bobby Roode in a triple threat match. This match was really, really good. All three teams went at it in the ring early. Ricochet and Black sent both teams to the floor. They teased their double dive, bounced off the ropes, and posed in the middle of the ring. Black ran wild on Roode and Gable, hit a moonsault on Roode and attempted the Black Mass. Instead, Roode sent Black's foot into Scott Dawson's face instead, and then he hit a big spine buster. Gable hit a rolling German suplex on Black, but Dash Wilder broke up a pin attempt with a splash off the top. Ricochet immediately hit a shooting star press on Wilder for a near fall. Ricochet and Dawson fought on the top rope. Ricochet gave Dawson a Hurricane Rana off the top rope. He was supposed to give him a Hurricane Rana off the top to all the guys that were at ringside, but I don't know what happened here other than the Hurricane Rana didn't really have much oomph to it, and instead, Dawson, instead of launching out, Dawson launched down and went spine first, upper back spine first onto the edge of the ring, the quote-unquote hardest part of the ring, which it is. That looks scary because he hit it and he was just boom. He didn't bounce off it and no give or nothing. He just boom and then just slid down the side of the ring. It looked like, he could have really been hurt there, but it seemed fine when they finished up the match. So in the ring, Gable hit a little bit later. Gable hit a crossbody on Dawson, but he rolled through for a near fall. Dawson dropped Gable on the top rope, and as he bounced off the top rope, they hit him with the Shatter Machine for the victory to retain the Raw Tag Team Championships. There was a lot going on here, but at the same time, a lot going on in a good way. Nicholas Altimore says, "What about Ricochet?" What about Ricochet? I really didn't see how Ricochet landed because the camera angle was so zoomed in. To me, I could be wrong, but it looked like he landed fine. Ricochet himself, that is, off that Hurricane Rana from the top to the floor. So after the match, though, Roode jumped the Revival from behind as they were trying to celebrate. Black hit the Black Mass on Wilder, and Ricochet hit a 630. We then got a fatal four-way match for the United States Championship with Samoa Joe defending against R-Truth, Andrade, and Rey Mysterio. This match was great. I really liked this match a lot. Joe hit a suicide dive to the floor and wiped out all three guys early. Mysterio hit a double Hurricane Rana on both Andrade and R-Truth. So if you didn't see this spot, R-Truth kind of had Andrade almost in a German suplex position. He was right behind him. He was wrapping his arms around him, kind of. And Rey comes off the top rope, wraps his legs around both guys' heads, and whew, Hurricane Rana. It was pretty clever. Pretty clever move. Joe then locked in a Kikina clutch on Truth, but Mysterio broke it up. Joe attempted a power slam on Mysterio, but Mysterio reversed it by diving him headfirst into the ring post. Mysterio gave Andrade a Hurricane Rana off Truth's shoulders. Andrade then hit the Three Amigos on Rey Mysterio. Mysterio reversed this third suplex, though, into a near fall. Andrade hit a corkscrew plancha to take out Joe. Mysterio hit a Hurricane Rana on Andrade from the top to the floor. Zelina Vega then interfered, hit a super kick on Truth. Carmella then attacked Vega for interfering. Truth would then have Joe laying on the mat. He then hit a backdrop on Andrade, laying him down on top of Joe. He then went for the 5-knuckle shuffle. As he was coming down for the fist drop, Andrade moved out of the way and he still hit Joe with it. Andrade would break up a pin attempt by Truth. Mysterio hit a 619 on Joe but missed the splash. Joe then locked on the Kikina clutch and Mysterio passed out for the victory. Samoa Joe does retain the WWE United States Championship. I really liked the match. Again, a lot of, I guess you could say, a lot of multi-person matches to get as many people as they could on this show, and it wasn't too much. I thought it all worked out in the long run. So with that, we then move on to the Women's Tag Team Championship match where Bayley and Sasha Banks defeated Nia Jax and Tamina. This match was kind of it was there. Nia Jax was like she had a big old uterus on the front of her gear. Jax hit a powerbomb on Bayley for a near fall. Banks hit a knee and a crossbody on Tamina. Tamina tossed up Banks and Jax caught her with a Samoan drop. They messed up a couple spots, but Jax managed to power Banks up off of a pin attempt. Jax missed a charge into the corner, and Banks sent double knees on her after that. Sasha then hit a crossbody onto the heels, but they caught her. Bayley took them all out with a suicide dive to the outside, landing on Nia's face. Whew. Finish came when Jax attempted a powerbomb, but Bayley reversed it into a Hurricane Rana for the victory. After the match, the heels, Nia and Tamina, were sore losers. They attacked Bayley and Sasha Banks. Tamina nailed Bayley with a super kick, and Jax tossed Banks right over the announce table. She didn't even use the announce table to slow down her momentum. She literally threw her over the announce table, and Sasha just went right into the barricade. Sorry for headphone users. So Beth Phoenix gets up from commentary. She gets right in Tamina's face. She's had enough. But before anything can happen, Jax jumped Phoenix from behind. Jax played around with Beth for a minute in the ring before giving her a leg drop. Natty would run down to try to make a save for her best friend, but it was too much. She was overpowered by Tamina, who rocked her with a super kick. So I don't know where this is leading to, whether we're getting a match on TV or at WrestleMania of Natty and Beth versus Tamina and Nia, or at WrestleMania we can get a triple threat with the women's tag team titles on the line, Sasha and Bayley defending against the team of both Jax and Tamina, Phoenix, and Natty. I don't know where this is leading to, but we'll have to see. Then they did announce that next is the WWE Championship match, and it will be a triple threat. And I'm like, Kofi gonna come out here all messed up? No. Kevin Owens comes out and comes down to the ring. Commentators were confused by them still calling this a triple threat. And then Mustafa Ali was introduced as the third participant. Ali actually got a mixed reaction because the crowd really wanted to see Kofi. They were chanting, "We want Kofi, we want Kofi," from the onset of the match. As soon as Ali really came out. And I told somebody earlier I was talking to, and I'm like, Kofi getting screwed here in this handicap match. We're going to get Ali to come out, and the crowd's not going to want it. And Ali's going to get the bad rap for it. And that is basically what happened. So the fans continued to chant for Kofi throughout most of this match. Ali was on the top rope, and Bryan rocked him with a drop kick, which sent Ali to the floor and crashing on the barricade. Bryan isolated Owens and worked over his arm. He hit Owens with a series of kicks, but Ali broke up a pin attempt. Owens hit a cannonball on both Ali and Bryan. Owens hit a senton on Bryan with Ali on his back. Ali hit an inverted Hurricane Rana on Owens and then hit a Spanish Fly on Daniel Bryan. Ali did miss an attempt of the 054 on Owens, though. Owens then hit a stunner on Ali, and I think it was Michael Cole or Corey goes, if Stone Cold Steve Austin was here, he'd be proud of that stunner by Owens. So he hits the stunner, but pin attempt gets broken up. So Bryan then misses a knee on Ali and crashes into the ring post. Ali then hit a 450 on Bryan off the top rope onto the apron. Ali made the cover, but Rowan pulled Bryan out of the ring. Ali and Owens gave Rowan a double super kick. Ali hit a Hurricane Rana off the apron on Rowan, and Owens followed it up with a dive. Bryan and Ali traded shots back and forth in the middle of the ring. The finish then came when Ali attempted another tornado DDT off the second turnbuckle, but Bryan caught him with a running knee for the victory. Great finish here. All things, I thought the match itself was really good. Again, another multi-person match, but for some reason, all these multi-person matches worked tonight. Usually, this many doesn't really work that well, but it did. Woo! Okay. So after the match, Rowan would attack Ali. I don't know what they're going to do with Mustafa going forward. Hopefully, we don't just get a Mustafa Rowan storyline. So then, with a very weird finish, we had Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair. If Becky Lynch was to be victorious, then she would go on to WrestleMania and be part of the Raw Women's Championship match. Fans chanted for Becky from the introductions throughout most of this match. Lynch came out on a crutch, limping, and she had her, I think it was her left arm, her elbow all taped up, which she didn't have it taped up on Tuesday, so I don't know if she got her ass beat again between Tuesday and tonight, but, little things. So basically, she came out limping, but threw the crutch away. Flair attacked the injured leg as Lynch tried to fight back. Flair locked on a half crab and continued to work over the injured knee. Flair slammed Lynch's leg on the apron, and Lynch briefly took over, but Flair quickly regained control, yet again attacking the knee. Lynch used an inside cradle for a 2 count, but it wasn't enough. Flair took back over control and tossed Lynch into the barricade. Flair climbed to the top rope for a moonsault, but Lynch pushed her off to the floor. Flair beat the 10 count to get back in the ring, and Lynch locked on the disarmor. Flair rolled through the disarmor and put on the figure 4 leg lock. Then, as Becky's in the figure 4, Ronda Rousey runs down. And my first thought was, okay, so we're not going to have a finish, and we're just going to go to Raw tomorrow, and they're just going to add Becky in. But no, Ronda had a genius plan. Ronda came down, and all she does is she just drops her fist right on Becky's face. And what does the referee have to do? Disqualify Charlotte. Becky Lynch wins by disqualification. And so the referee states, tells Greg Hamilton to state, Becky technically wins. She goes on to Mania. I was fully expecting Vince or Stephanie to come out and go, whoa, 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 no. But it didn't happen. Ronda had a genius plan to get Charlotte disqualified, so Becky is technically the winner. And Becky is now technically in the Raw Women's Championship match at WrestleMania. And then the announcers showed the graphic at WrestleMania. It will, in fact, be a triple threat match. I like where the whole thing of Ronda had a good idea to get what she wanted, but the finish itself was just like, really? Did you really need to do that? You couldn't have made Becky look any more weak, as far as she couldn't even beat Charlotte on her own. Now, how is she going to go into WrestleMania? I know she's got 4 weeks to heal up, but how is she going to go into WrestleMania and actually beat 2 women? That's going to be the big thing. It's like, she couldn't even barely defend herself against Charlotte here. What, is she going to go get some miracle therapy between now and WrestleMania? I don't know, but she got in. She won technically. Then, in the ring, Elias again. For his 3rd performance of the night. He mocked Becky and buried Ohio. He talked about the Shield, but said he has no faith in them. Just like when the Cleveland Browns take the field. Elias said that Cleveland is the worst city to host the final pay-per-view before WrestleMania. Then Lacey Evans' music hits. She got new graphics. She got new Titantron graphics. I may be one of the only that care about that. She walks down, waved, and walked back. And yes, her new Titantron graphics, no longer military themed. It's a bunch of those Southern Belle bonnet hats or whatever you call them. Dumb. Elias was watching this. And as he's watching Lacey Evans walk away, Randy Orton comes out of nowhere. Michael Cole says, "Oh my God!" Randy Orton with an RKO out of nowhere. And then all of a sudden, AJ Styles flies off of the top rope, bounces off, and hits a phenomenal forearm on Owens. And Michael Cole goes, "Oh my God! AJ Styles out of the corner." So we now know that Randy Orton comes out of nowhere, and AJ Styles comes out of the corner. We're setting it up. AJ versus Orton, WrestleMania. We've never really had a big singles match between the two, so it is something new that they will be giving us at WrestleMania. With that, we then go on to the main event that was hella fun. Very fun match to watch. Did I say Owens? Someone in the chat says, did he say Owens? Did I say Owens instead of like Orton or something? I meant Orton with RKO out of nowhere or something. If I messed up, let me know in the live chat. It happens. So both teams come down. And both teams go face-to-face in the middle of the ring before they start brawling. Shield gains the early advantage. Roman Reigns hit a clothesline for a 2 count. My bad, guys. I said Owens. I meant Orton. It happens to the best of us. The heels isolated Seth Rollins and worked him over. Dean Ambrose got the tag and rolled up McIntyre for a near fall. He then hit a huge elbow to the floor on McIntyre. Lashley hit a spear on Ambrose to regain control. Corbin and Lashley beat down Reigns and Rollins on the floor. The heels isolated Ambrose and kept him on their side of the ring. Ambrose fought back and hit a neck breaker on Lashley. Reigns got in and basically took down all 3 heels. He hit the drive-by on Corbin, but McIntyre broke up a pinning attempt. Rollins and Ambrose then hit a double suicide dive on Lashley and McIntyre. And this whole match, every time they would do a signature Shield thing like that double dive, you would have Michael Cole or Corey Graves, man, this is the last time we're ever going to see that. This is the last time we're ever going to see this happen. And so they hit the double dive on Lashley and McIntyre. Reigns attempted a dive, but Corbin, this was clever. So Reigns bounces off the ropes, and he's going to do his dive. But you know he's not going to actually hit it, because Reigns never does the dive on the side of the actual announce booth, because he flies too far sometimes. And as he's halfway through, like bounces off the ropes, he's running halfway across the ring. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, Corbin just runs in and hits him with a nice deep 6. Very, very cool looking spot, because that deep 6, he spun him around like 3 times. So Corbin then hit a chokeslam on Reigns, but only got a 2 count. Rollins, Ambrose, Lashley, and McIntyre then started fighting in the crowd, and finally they started fighting over towards where the Kickoff Show table was. In the rings, Reigns hit he blocked or countered, whatever you want to call it, a superplex attempt by Corbin into a powerbomb, a sit-out powerbomb, only for a near fall though. In the crowd, Ambrose then jumped off the kickoff panel table onto both Lashley and McIntyre, and then all of a sudden, Rollins came from like the upper deck level, like second level of the crowd, with a dive on all 3 guys, wiping everybody out. In the ring, it was still Roman Reigns and Corbin. We don't know if they knew what was going on or not. The other guys. Reigns hit a Superman punch for a near fall. He then hit a Superman punch on McIntyre and Lashley, who finally came down to the ring. Corbin then hit an end of days for a very close near fall. The heels then set up the Shield. They were going to hit Roman with a triple powerbomb before Ambrose did his breaking it up, running and just diving right on McIntyre. Seth Rollins comes from the other side and dives right onto Lashley. He then hits Lashley with a curb stomp on the table. And Reigns hits Corbin with a spear. Shield then hits a triple powerbomb on McIntyre through the table. Excuse me. And my first thought was, McIntyre has the best upside of any of these 3 guys. Why couldn't you put Lashley through the damn table? At least not make McIntyre look so bad. So Corbin's in the middle of the ring. The Shield surround the ring, and the crowd's chanting, "This is awesome." Michael Cole goes, "Yes, this is awesome." Get back in the ring. Rollins hits a super kick. Reigns hits a Superman punch. Ambrose hits the dirty deeds, all on Corbin. Finish then comes when they hit a triple powerbomb on Corbin for the victory. Shield celebrates in the ring, and the commentators keep saying, this is the last time that this can happen, because Dean Ambrose, he's looking to leave the WWE. Roman Reigns, he's got bigger things coming to him with his return, and Seth Rollins is moving on to his big date with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. And they're basically stating that the Shield's back together tonight, but they're going to split, and they're going to go their own ways starting tomorrow, apparently, because they all got different paths to wherever they want to get to WrestleMania and do for that. So, with that, I thought Fastlane was a pretty good show. I really liked it. It was way better than I expected. I did see some other people say that it was better than they expected. Of course, I have seen people here in the live chat saying that they didn't like it that much. But for a show that really didn't have many WrestleMania implications, even though it should have, it still came off really, really well. Now, I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear what you guys have to say about tonight's Fastlane pay-per-view. If you do want to call in, you can do so at 559-475-8473, 559-475-8473. You can also give me your thoughts through text message, 510-906-1341. Again, you can text in your questions and thoughts to 510-906-1341. I'm just looking at the live chat and stuff while we wait for some of your guys' thoughts and questions and whatnot to come in. We do have a text message here. 626 Bernie does state, did you guys notice Roman was looking a bit rough, more than he has looked since when he came back? I think he had a cut and he had baggy eyes. I mean, he hasn't wrestled in 4 months. He was being treated for leukemia. Of course, his first match back, he's not going to look perfect. So, I mean, yeah, he's not going to look 100% perfect. You got to knock off the ring rust. So putting him in a 6-man was great. 817 here in the text line says, Tim, do you think WWE title match is going to be a 4-way match at WrestleMania featuring Bryan, Kofi, Owens, and Ali? You know, I thought they could go in that direction, but I wouldn't. If you don't want the fans to hijack and crap all over the match, you've got to do the singles with Daniel Bryan and Kofi. It's going to be a really good match, the two of them. I mean, the four of them can have a great match, but I think Kofi and Daniel together can also have a great match. So either way, I know you want to get as many people in key matches as possible. You know, everybody else gets relegated to the pre-show battle royals, but I don't think you need too many multi-person matches. Yet I have heard that there are a lot of multi-person matches being talked about to get as many people on the main card as possible. But with that, let's take our first call. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Hey, Tim, what's going on?
How'd you like Fastlane?
Oh, man, I'll say this. I actually enjoyed it more than I expected to. I think it was a very, very predictable pay-per-view.
Oh, yeah.
But there were there were some cool spots with the whole Beth Phoenix and the, I don't know, the Elias thing was kind of funny. So, I mean, and then like that, that main event, I was not expecting that to be the main event. I thought probably like the whole Kofi Kevin Owens thing would be the main event, or the Becky Charlotte. But that match was really fun. That 6-man tag.
For sure. And I think the reason they didn't do Becky Charlotte as in the main event is because the way the finish came. You couldn't have had the show end with Becky Lynch getting her ass beat, Charlotte coming down, Ronda coming down, punching her for the DQ, and then that's it. Like, that would be one of the worst finishes ever. At least you had a fun match to end the show, and everybody went home happy with the Shield winning.
Yeah, for sure. But I have a question about, what do you think, since Kofi's getting that big push on SmackDown? Unfortunately, Mustafa Ali might get lost in the shuffle. How would you book him from now, next couple months?
Mustafa?
Yeah.
I'd probably put him in the mix for the U.S. title. I think you can take R-Truth out of there, because R-Truth is, I'm not going to say overstayed his welcome. He did what they needed him to do. They got the title on him, so that way he can be a transitional champion to better things. But I think maybe you could have
Ali. Champion.
Pardon?
He was a funny champion. I'll give him credit.
Plus, for 47 years old, he goes like any of these 30-year-old guys.
I know, it's crazy.
But I think maybe you can throw Mustafa Ali in there as far as like a challenger for the U.S. title.
So you think him versus Joe at Mania, possibly?
Or maybe like a multi-man ladder match. We can. The reason I know they thought of a multi-man ladder match last year for Mania, but they didn't want to do 2 ladder matches back to back in the same weekend, so they gave the ladder match to the NXT show. So maybe we can get either for the IC or the U.S. title a ladder match at WrestleMania, and I think it would work better for the U.S. with the different types of guys you do have on SmackDown. I mean, 6-man ladder match from SmackDown.
They're the better workers.
Well, they're just better ladder match type guys. You've got Joe, Mustafa. You've got Andrade. You've got Ray. I mean, screw it. You need somebody. Throw R-Truth in there, and then find a sixth guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe even a Ricochet.
Maybe. Yeah, I can see Ricochet. I mean, I've been hearing reports, not really reports, but just speculation that maybe Samoa Joe versus John Cena, potentially.
They kind of teased it on SmackDown, but I feel like the fans won't accept that because it's not like Cena's earned it. It's just like Cena came back, he's getting a title shot, and then he's leaving again.
Yeah. I don't see... I mean, do you see John Cena doing anything at Mania? I mean, we saw him do the fan thing last year.
I know Vince has said come up with an idea for John Cena. What that is, I'm not sure because the whole Lars Sullivan thing, that ain't happening anymore.
So, a match, or you're not sure?
Yeah, I believe they'll come up with some sort of a match. Maybe he faces Elias. Maybe he faces McIntyre. I don't know where they're going to go with it. Really, it's just whoever doesn't have something can get thrown in with Cena.
I could see both of those guys that you just said, Elias and McIntyre, both of them wouldn't be a bad match because actually, I think Elias is actually a very underrated guy in the ring. I've always felt that.
And they can play off of last year's WrestleMania.
Exactly. Well, I'll let you get to other callers. But thanks for taking my call as always.
Thanks for the call and have a great night. All right, so with that, I mean, John Cena, WrestleMania. I've heard that they want him to wrestle. He's willing to wrestle. He's got to figure out the right thing to do. But let's take another call. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Hello?
Hello, you're on the air. What's going on?
Oh, hey, what's going on? Real quick, big shout out. I do subscribe to your channel.
Thank you.
One question I do have is, what do you think let's say fast forward to WrestleMania, when it comes to Daniel Bryan, his championship match, let's say they decide to do a triple threat. Do you feel like they can be able to do a possible chance of having Kofi in, like how you see how WrestleMania in Orlando, how they have the Hardy Boys just come out of nowhere?
Uh-huh.
What do you think? Like, do you think that will happen if they put Ali in just like that? What do you think?
I think whatever that match is going to be for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania, I don't think it's going to be like tonight where they just sprung it on us that, hey, Ali's in the match. It's a triple threat. I think we'll know going in what that match is actually going to be, and they're not going to change it. They've already did the whole surprise change thing tonight, so I don't see them doing it again with the same championship at WrestleMania.
Okay. And with the women's championship match, I want to know what's your pick for that?
For the Raw Women's Championship?
What do you think will happen at WrestleMania when it comes with Charlotte, Becky Lynch, and Ronda Rousey?
I mean, I can expect, maybe this is a little fantasy booking here, Ronda and Becky team up early on just to take out Charlotte because they want each other. So they get Charlotte out of the equation for a couple minutes, maybe 4 or 5 minutes, and they go at it. I don't know how they get to the finish. Hopefully they get like 25, 30 minutes between the match. And in the end, Becky's got to win. If Becky doesn't win, those fans are going to be they're going to be more mad than Roman Reigns if Roman Reigns would have main evented.
I mean, I would have been pissed too because I will be attending at WrestleMania.
Awesome.
And I will be going for Becky Lynch. I'm just going to end it off with one more question.
Okay.
When it comes to, since I did miss half the show, when it comes to Shane McMahon and The Miz, when Shane turning heel against The Miz, what do you think will happen within the few weeks, within the next 4 weeks that's going to happen? Do you think Shane will get a victory, or do you think The Miz will be able to get a big push from that match?
I want to say thank you for the call. I think this will end with Shane getting defeated by The Miz. The babyface is going to come out on top. He got, what's the word I'm looking for? Humiliated, not just in his hometown, but right in front of his father. So Shane is going to probably get beat at WrestleMania. If we've learned anything from Shane's last couple of singles matches at WrestleMania, he takes the L. He puts the other guy over. Yeah, he won last year, but he had to win last year. He was teaming with Daniel Bryan in his first match back in years. But technically, you usually see Shane at Mania put the babyface over. I guess you could say the babyface. Undertaker was kind of the babyface. AJ was kind of the babyface. But this time Miz is the babyface. So I think it's going to be Miz wanting to get the revenge of, hey, what was all that for? You beat me down after our match when I tried my hardest. You were the one that hit your crazy move off the top rope. You then put your hands on my father. And in the end, Miz is, I think, going to come out victorious. Maybe not get a big push after WrestleMania, but get something. I think it's not going to be for nothing. So we'll see how that goes. But let's take another call. Actually, we have a text message here. It says, 512 says, I think R-Truth should turn heel before he retires. No, I think R-Truth is the perfect wacky babyface. They can give him a little more credibility now, and then we go from there. But I think R-Truth is doing great as a babyface. Let's take this call. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Hey, Tim. How's it going?
Pretty good. Yourself?
I'm doing all right. So, Tim, what was your favorite match from Fastlane? I thought it was one of the best pay-per-views in a while.
Oh, it's probably the best pay-per-view in the last 6, 7, 8 months, probably. But
right about that one.
My favorite match, that's tough.
Like you said, the multi-man matches work. I don't know how, but they all work.
I was shocked by that.
I honestly loved all the SmackDown matches, minus the Women's Championship match, because we all knew Asuka was going to win.
Oh yeah, I think my favorite match though probably was the WWE title match: Daniel Bryan, Kofi Kingston, Kevin Owens, and Mustafa Ali.
I do agree that. Like I said, all SmackDown matches were just a banger. The last match was also good too.
You know, I was surprised how well Corbin actually came off in that match. He actually looked better than usual, and he seemed like just a big menacing heel that played his part well.
Right about that one. All right, now the truth. You're right. Normal time he's not all that great. Let's be real.
Oh no.
Okay, my last thing is going transition to WrestleMania. Even though we don't know the card yet, a champ was missing. Finn Balor was missing from the pay-per-view.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention they announced. I don't know if you heard. Tomorrow on Raw, he will be defending his title against Bobby Lashley.
I don't see the point. He's winning.
Yeah,
so
there's
what's
no
new?
point at all. Especially like,
so
why is
who
Lashley?
Do you think he faced at WrestleMania?
At Mania, that's a tough one. Because I would have thought maybe if you want to do the Lashley match, you wait till Mania. But now they're doing it tomorrow on Raw, so it's like, what? That makes no sense to me. Because it's like, first off, Lashley lost at Fastlane. So why is he even getting a championship match tomorrow? But
I know they're not technically not doing mandatory rematch though, but that's the only thing I could think of.
Right, and I think they did announce that match before the actual main event tonight, so it was like the match was made before Lashley lost, so my kind of thinking there is off anyways. But as far as where Finn goes for Mania, I assume Finn retains tomorrow against Bobby Lashley, but then it's tough. Maybe Drew McIntyre.
But they've been protecting him.
You said they've been protecting McIntyre?
Yeah, protecting McIntyre. And they also just kind of put the title on Finn. And I don't think they want both. And I don't think they want those guys to take any L's.
Maybe they do McIntyre taking the title from Finn at Mania.
That's cool. That'd be a great match.
I mean, you have McIntyre win the title at Mania. The two feud over the title for a couple of months, and maybe Finn gets it back again a couple months later. Like he has to re-earn his opportunity to be number one contender and then takes it back. But I think as far as if they give Finn a singles match for the title at Mania, looking at everybody on Raw, his best opponent would probably be McIntyre. Because McIntyre is the type of guy that he's a bigger guy, but he knows how to work with the smaller guys perfectly.
Yeah, I agree. Well, thanks for taking my call. Also, Les, but I thought that what made the pay-per-view good, everyone had decent time to show all their skills. I think that worked out perfectly.
Yes. No match, in my opinion, went too short.
All right. Well, thanks for taking my call, Tim.
All right. Thanks for the call and have a great night. All right. So with that, if anybody else wants to call in, you can do so by calling 559-475-8473, 559-475-8473. Also, if you want to text in your questions or your comments, 510-906-1341. Got some text messages here before we do head back to the phones. 973 says, what do you think The Undertaker will do at Mania? No clue. I know Vince has said, hey, come up with an idea for him. What that idea is going to be, I don't know. If Undertaker even agrees to wrestle at Mania, who knows? 512 says, do you think Mandy is going to turn on Sonya Deville? They obviously teased it tonight. I haven't heard, but they also teased something where like EC3 now likes Mandy, and he's gonna take Mandy's attention away from Sonya. I don't know where all that's gonna lead to. They had a couple different things that led me to believe that they could be breaking up Mandy and Sonya, but we'll see. 985 in the chat, in the text message says, Usos versus the Hardys at Mania. That's what I've heard. I mean, that's what they've been teasing. They've teased it the last 2 weeks now, I think, on SmackDown. 619 says, Tim, on a scale of 1 to 10, how good was the pay-per-view, and what do you think will happen between Triple H and Batista tomorrow on Raw? If I had to give the pay-per-view a rating, I'd probably give it an 8 or an 8.5. It could have been better, but it couldn't have been that much better, so I'll probably go 8.5. 8.5. As far as tomorrow between Triple H and Batista, I just assume they're going to brawl. Or Batista shows up and never comes down to the ring. Triple H tries to go after him. Batista scurries away, and there you go. Last text message we got here from 267. Says, Owens almost killed himself tonight with that announce table. Yeah, you're telling me. That was a little scary, but let's take another call. All right, if you do want to call in, 559-475-8473. Let's take this call here. Caller, you on the air. What's going on? Hello? Caller. Going once. Going twice. Nope, not there. If anybody else does want to call in again, 559-475-8473. 817 in the chat says, when can we see Sami Zayn back? Anytime. Sami has been cleared from what I've heard. Sami apparently has been cleared to return to action, and they're just trying to figure out the right way to bring Sami Zayn back. I don't know what that right way could be. Whether that right way could be teaming him up with Owens, making them a tag team, having him come back as a heel and attacking Owens. I don't know. Let's take this call. See if this one goes. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Yeah, I just want to say the whole Becky thing was so stupid how they made her win with all that hype, everything that went into it. Ronda just came and just did a DQ and Becky started laughing. What was the whole point of that? I didn't like any of that.
Honestly, I didn't like it either. I don't know. That was one of the reasons I wouldn't give the pay-per-view over an 8.5 because that finish was just dull. My whole thing is it's like Ronda had an idea. She didn't think Becky could win on her own, so she came out here to help Becky. Whether we learn that her and Becky came up with that plan together or not, we'll have to see how they play this out on Raw. But I don't know if there's many ways they can make this sound like it was a good idea.
They should, in just my personal opinion, they should have pushed it until the end. They should have made that match the main event one. No. They should.
With the way the match ended, there's no way that could have been a main event match. Because
I mean, if they made a better finish and they actually made Becky win clean.
But you can't say that if that's the plan they had going in and the plan they went with. You have to think of, when you look at the pay-per-view now and say, well, could they have done something differently as far as match structure? You have to look at how the matches actually went tonight. You can't say, well, if they would have had this match end differently, it could have been a main event. You have to look at how the matches ended, and for the way all the different matches ended, having the Shield 6-man match go on last was perfect.
Yeah, no, you're right. I agree with you on that. But I mean, I just didn't like how that whole Ronda and Becky and Charlotte thing just ended.
Oh yeah, no one liked that.
And there's one more thing.
Sure.
It's just looking at how the whole EC3 thing is going in the WWE. It's just real sad to see him, how he was one of the top guys in TNA. He boosted himself up real good. Comes to the WWE, and now he's in main event. It's so sad seeing like that.
Oh yeah, I honestly think if they were going to use him the way they've used him, I want to say thank you for the call. But if they're only going to use him the way they're going to use him, why didn't they just leave him in NXT? I know Vince probably saw him and said, "Ooh, that guy's got a look." But did Vince actually ever hear him? Because EC3 is probably one of the better talkers they have. And for him to not be able to talk much on the main roster or at all since tonight, it's been a shame. It's been a shame. Got another text message here, 470. It says, maybe Harper could return to face Balor at Mania or Bray Wyatt or Sami Zayn. You know, they could have someone new, someone that's returning, come and challenge Finn Balor for the IC Championship. That's not out of the realm of possibility. 813 here says, will we see any more from Kofi? Of course. The whole storyline going forward is going to be Kofi getting his match at WrestleMania against Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship. Whether we've learned that this is all just Vince trying to screw Kofi, or we learn that Vince is actually in cahoots with Daniel Bryan, and Daniel Bryan is just trying to run away from the Kofi match. We'll have to see how it all does play out, but I could really see this coming down to Daniel Bryan and Vince McMahon in cahoots. Because the way Daniel Bryan was so composed, was so non-emotional at that contract signing when Vince came out, pulled Kofi from the match, and added Kevin Owens, the way Daniel Bryan was just sitting there, unemotional, not even caring, was just like, you know what? This could have been his plan all along. Maybe Daniel Bryan is the one that went to Vince and goes, I don't want to face Kofi. You gonna fix this? We'll see how it all does play out. But I think Gorilla Mon in the chat says, do you think Daniel Bryan leaves WrestleMania with the strap? I do. I don't think they're going to put the title on Kofi, but they're going to push Kofi as far as they can, I mean, without putting that title on him. But let's take another call. Caller on the air, what's going on? Oh, no, not again. Caller, going once. Going twice. Another one. Lost him. Razor Blade says WWE should call it more women. We've got on April 15th, 14th, 15th, something like that, Superstar Shakeup. It's coming. About a month away. They'll be calling up some more people, I believe. 504 says, who was more over, Becky or Kofi? That's a tough one. It's a very tough question. Ooh. You know what? I'm going to put that. I'm going to answer that here in a little bit. As we look at the, let's take this call. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Hey, do you really think that Dean Ambrose is done with the WWE?
I mean, as far as this past week, yes. Could they convince him to stay? Possibly. But everything we're hearing as far as this past week goes, yes, he's ready to leave.
Does that, affect Renee Young at all?
No, I don't think so, no. Her contract is separate from him.
And like you were talking about it earlier, I just wanted to call to confirm that John Cena is just going to be thrown into the shuffle somewhere for WrestleMania.
I know that they're trying to come up with ideas. Whether they do come up with an idea that he agrees to do, we don't know. But I know they are trying to come up with some sort of an idea for him to work a match at WrestleMania. That is what I have heard over the last couple of weeks.
And last question to bother you with. Do you think the Shield does something at WrestleMania Like, even though Seth's competing by himself?
I don't think so. I think it's just going to end. I mean, maybe Roman gets involved in the Universal title match just because his link with Brock Lesnar and the whole WrestleMania 31 with the three of them. Maybe that could happen, but I don't see the Shield helping Seth win or anything. I could be wrong, but I just don't see it.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thank you for the call.
Reporting everything. Have a great night.
Thanks for the call and have a great night. All right, so with that, got some more text messages. You guys are flooding the text line tonight. I love it. 512 says, do you think Kofi wins at Mania? No. I mean, I don't know why I had to think about that. I've been saying it all night. No. I don't think Kofi wins at WrestleMania. 514 says, if Dean Ambrose resigns, do you see him turning on Roman Reigns? That's a tough one. Probably not. Because if they were going to do any sort of Dean Ambrose versus Roman Reigns thing, they probably would have done it now, leading into WrestleMania. They still can. I mean, they could do the whole thing where Dean was just screwing with them, swerving them, working with them tonight, and then he turns on Roman and leads to Roman's Mania match. I don't know. Last I heard was Roman versus Corbin possibly at Mania. So, I don't know. I honestly don't know what they do with Dean. 470 says, who are your favorite and least favorite women wrestlers? My favorite are Becky, Mandy, Liv Morgan, Carmella, Alexa Bliss. They are all good on the mic and talented in the ring, especially Becky. I'd say my favorite in WWE right now would probably be Charlotte Flair. Least favorite, probably like a Liv Morgan or probably a Liv Morgan or something. It's hard to say when you got all these people that they don't give much time to. It's hard to say, who's my favorite, who's my least favorite. But I'd say my favorites would probably either be a Charlotte Flair or Alexa Bliss. Those would be my two favorite females in the company right now. Again, if you guys do want to call in, you can do so by calling 559-475-8473. Again, 559-475-8473. If you want to call in, give your thoughts on tonight's WWE Fastlane event. Also, if you guys are currently in the live chat, let me know if you guys got a notification. Been having some issues with YouTube the last 2 weeks where they don't want to give out notifications to more than like 40% of our subscribers. Also, you can text in your comments at 510-906-1341. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Hey, finally got on. Nice.
How's it going?
Man, I'm doing better than I deserve, man. How are you?
Pretty good.
Awesome. And if I'm yelling, forgive me. I'm on my phone's connected to my Bluetooth. So.
Oh no, you're perfectly fine.
I'm doing Uber and Lyft, so I'm in between rides right now. So I thought I'd get a chance to call in.
Awesome. What did you think of? What did you think?
Fastlane was pretty nice. And you know what I noticed? Every time that Sasha and Bayley wrestle together, they like 95% of the time have like close botches or botches. I don't know what it is, like something like they need to get it together as far as that goes and try not to make them like put themselves in a position to where they can hurt themselves. But I heard earlier, speaking of which, that you were talking about like maybe adding adding Natty and Beth Phoenix into the mix. That may sound like a good idea only if they can mesh it well with I guess this maybe this feud that is going to start between Nia and Beth, of course, with Tamina and Natty in the mix.
Right.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But hey, I have a question for you.
Sure.
So with and I know everybody's riding Kofi Mania. I've been riding with Kofi since the beginning, before New Day and everything. Now with Kofi on this wave, do you expect Mustafa to do a heel turn? Because remember, it was Daniel Bryan originally was supposed to feud with Mustafa because of how Daniel Bryan is as a survivalist vegan against Mustafa, who uses polluting type cars, right?
Right.
So if you would expect a Mustafa turn because of the fact that the crowd was riding with him, but now all of a sudden after he got injured and now they're now riding for Kofi, would you expect a heel turn either before or, you know, I'm just saying, like, if you were to look at it that way in that perspective?
You know, it's hard for me to think that Mustafa would turn heel right now, just from the way we know that Vince actually thinks that Mustafa is one of the better baby faces they have on SmackDown. Because Mustafa Ali did an interview.
And he's a good worker.
Right, and Mustafa did an interview not like maybe 3-4 weeks after his call-up to SmackDown, and he said Vince pulled him aside and told him, hey, I like the way that you're able to get the crowd invested in you during your matches emotionally. He said that Vince told him that's something that not many people nowadays can do. So it's like...
Right, which is true.
Go for it.
Right, which is true. But you can also still get the crowd invested emotionally as a heel also.
True. I
mean, especially now since everybody's riding Kofi, if Mustafa was to turn because of this, and also they were chanting, "We want Kofi the entire match." When I would assume that Mustafa would be like, you know, hey, everybody's waiting for me to come back after injury. Now I got my spot that I originally had before they replaced me with Kofi.
Now here's the thing: some things that I have heard though is that yes, Mustafa was supposed to have that great run in the Gauntlet match. But but technically, that whole great run in the Elimination Chamber wasn't really set up prior for Mustafa Ali. They went with that after Kofi got over so well in the Gauntlet match. So we don't know.
Right, and that's what I'm saying.
Right. But they could play off of it, of course. I mean,
it
could work if they try to make him heel before WrestleMania. I think if they don't do it before, then it's just too far gone afterwards, and it really wouldn't mean anything, especially if Kofi doesn't win the championship. So I think regarding your question, though, the way it would work if Kofi doesn't win the title, it would probably have to be before WrestleMania.
There would have to be, and I would say this too, that if it were, and I would just say based off fantasy purposes,
right?
If they were to have Mustafa join Daniel Bryan after that heel turn.
Interesting.
And I would say that because kind of like how I would say Daniel Bryan will kind of like have that Bray Wyatt effect.
Mm-hmm.
You know, kind of like how all of a sudden mysteriously Rowan is right there. Everybody was expecting Harper to join, and who knows where he'll appear again. But, you know, Bryan would have his own little army. Mustafa can kind of sort of see the light because of how the crowd is.
Right.
And think about it like this. Daniel Bryan turned on the crowd too. So they would have a common interest. Also with Kofi being so over with the crowd. So I would say that in aspect of it, but you know, I was thinking that they would maybe have some kind of ideas like that too.
No, I get it. If they would have to have a reason to turn Mustafa Ali heel more than just, hey, the crowd's not with me anymore. So maybe aligning him with Daniel Bryan and saying, you know what? This whole Kofi thing is too much. I see where Daniel Bryan's coming from with all this. Now I'm aligning with him and this and that. So maybe it's a little bit fantasy booking. But hey, anything can happen. We got 4 weeks.
Right. And 4 weeks is still a long time to where they can kind of sort of do something. And then, you know, things can happen in live events too in between. So
I just hope within those 4 weeks, things don't change so many times that we have no clue what's happening the day of WrestleMania.
Right, which is correct because things can flip at the top of a hat. So,
as we saw today with like 2 matches, I think 2 matches changed just today from Fastlane.
Yeah, Shane turning heel, I liked it. It was beautiful, and Shane hasn't been heel since he had black hair. You know, so
right.
You know. Right, so you know it's good because it still gives into the whole perspective of that you still can't trust the McMahon.
Exactly.
And yeah, because of how Vince just screwed Kofi again, just like how he screwed Becky, just like how Shane just embarrassed The Miz in his hometown in front of his dad. You know, so yeah, it was a nice little swerve for everybody. Nobody expected that.
No, I didn't either. I expected if anybody was going to turn, it was going to be The Miz.
Right. And yeah, because Miz has always been more heel than face and somewhat of a tweener. But, yeah, I guess they're just making him full baby now.
Right, because, like, my whole thought was Miz is going to, the pressure to try and, try and get his dad's approval is going to be too much. He's going to blame it on Shane for them losing, and then he turns heel. But it went the other way. So we'll see how it all goes. But I expect that match to just be a whatever, Shane's going to try something crazy and Miz is going to go with it type of match.
Yeah, probably. But depending on how they're going to do this, but I would expect a good build-up to it because Shane done got some heat now. So I would expect something good building up to it.
The one thing, though, we can say about... the one thing we can say about Miz, though, is he's usually down to try anything in matches. Like, a lot of times, he's that type of guy that's like, oh, that's what you want me to do? All right, I'll give it a go.
Right. Exactly. He's been a workhorse and very prestigious. You know, so yeah, we'll definitely see what happens. I would hope something good will come Tuesday. They've always put out something good. They've been putting out something good for the past several months. So we'll definitely see what happens. And one more thing before I let you go, Tim. So, do you think would you consider the Usos heel right now because of how they were working the match? They were a little heelish.
I would say
or maybe
yes.
Because it was the hometown crowd.
Well, that too, but I mean, I want to say thank you for the call and have a great night. I want to say, Usos, their gimmick now is basically like they're the cool heels, kind of. They're more heel than babyface, but the crowd likes them. So they're kind of like, not like Becky or Steve Austin cool heel type of deal. They're like the heels that still do some cool things, and they can get the crowd behind them when they need to, but for the most part, we're supposed to think, those guys are the heels. Those guys are the bad guys going up against guys like the Hardy Boys here probably at WrestleMania. Going up against like the likes of the New Day. New Day ain't ever going to be heels. They were supposed to be when they first started, and that didn't work out. So as far as the Usos go, I think the Usos are heels. I would go Usos as heels. Let's check out the text line a little more. 813 says, why do they keep repeating the fact of Ambrose not resigning? Because they want you to think that maybe there's a slight chance he does. Them saying it over and over, the fans are going to be like, well, obviously, if they keep bringing it up, then he's got to be staying, isn't it? I want you to have that doubt, because typically WWE wouldn't say anything if this was that real. So the whole thing is they want you to believe, they want you to think that with them saying it over and over, maybe there is that slight hope that he does stay. 512 says, who do you think is going to the main roster after WrestleMania? That's a tough one, because they did the call-ups in January. They did the other call-ups here just in the last couple of weeks. So it's hard to say who should come up now. I don't know if really anybody else should really come up. If you look at NXT itself, I probably would keep NXT UK how it is, because that show's going great. But as far as regular NXT, who can come up, you don't want to pull too many big guys. And you've already done that with EC3. Heavy Machinery from the tag team division. You've pulled Nikki Cross, one of the better females. You've pulled Aleister Black and Ricochet. So you really can't pull, like I've said in the past, you can't pull too many of your best guys from NXT, because then who does that really leave you with in NXT that can actually take that show and run with it as far as drawing in the crowds? So honestly, maybe nobody comes up anymore. Maybe they just tell you where all these, what do we got, 6, 9 call-ups now. Maybe they say these guys are on this brand now. Maybe that's what we get after Mania. 817 says, do you think Undisputed Era on the main roster for the WWE shakeup? Another shakeup question. I don't think they should come up till after SummerSlam. I think they're pushing the thing of Undisputed Era all having championships. Whether they get to that or not, I don't know. But I think SummerSlam weekend, that's their 2-year anniversary. So keep them down there. Well, Roderick Strong's have been around for longer, but Undisputed Era, the group itself, 2-year anniversary at SummerSlam weekend. So let them ride those 2 years, and then you could bring them up between SummerSlam, Survivor Series, or whenever. But I think those two, or that team, needs to stay in NXT for a little bit, especially if you've pulled Gargano. Whether Gargano does stay in NXT or goes to the main roster is to be seen. But you pulled Aleister Black. Excuse me. You pulled Aleister Black. You pulled Ricochet. You pulled EC3. You've got to keep some people down there that can help anchor that show. So maybe, I don't think so. I could be wrong. But nah. I say keep them down in NXT for a little bit longer. 873 says, do you think Vince lets Brock and Roman lose on the same night at Mania? Whoever match Roman has at WrestleMania, I do not see him losing. Brock will probably lose to Seth Rollins. But as far as your question goes, is will Vince let them both lose on the same night? I don't think one has to do with the other. I just think it's Roman and WrestleMania. He can't lose. Especially him coming back from his leukemia. This only being his second pay-per-view. No, he can't lose. He can't lose. 504. I've got you. I'm running some polls. I want to hear what a lot of people think on that one. If you guys do want to weigh in, go to our Twitter or the community page here on YouTube and let us know, who do you think is more over right now, Becky Lynch or Kofi Kingston? As of right now, 74% do think that, well, actually, hold on. Let me do the math here for a second. As of right now, we've got, about 75% of people that's voted so far do believe that Kofi is actually more over right now than Becky Lynch. And I would say the same thing based off of tonight's Fastlane event. More people seem to be over Kofi, or with Kofi, for Kofi, than Becky Lynch. And that was all before the Becky Lynch match. So it can't be like, oh, now they don't care about Becky because of that weak finish. They just seem to care more about Kofi before, the show was even going, like when the show first started. So I would think they're more for Kofi, and you guys are thinking they're more for Kofi as well. 919 says, do you think AJ Styles will wrestle until he's 50? Probably not. Probably not. Not with the style. I mean, at 50, I don't think he can keep that same style up. They ain't all R-Truth. And R-Truth doesn't even wrestle as hard as AJ Styles. So 470 says, Kofi can win Money in the Bank and then cash it in. I wouldn't be opposed to that. I'd love to see Kofi win Money in the Bank. I think that'd be great. You have him lose at WrestleMania, and that next month we do now know is Money in the Bank. So maybe he wins Money in the Bank, and then it's like, hey, Kofi may have lost at WrestleMania, but he's got another shot. And that'll just keep the fans behind Kofi and keep the fans wanting Kofi to cash in, and he can tease it for months. Don't just do a quick one. No, have Kofi, if he were to win Money in the Bank, have him tease that for months. I'd love to see something like that. Kofi winning Money in the Bank, great idea. Great idea. But with that, I'm going to wrap things up here. I want to thank everybody who did join us here live to talk Fastlane, but I also want to join everybody who came later, who watched the replay here on YouTube or on iTunes. Thank you guys for helping us out, just watching our videos, supporting us here on YouTube, on social media. The website, pwunlimited.net, really helps out so much. And I want to say thank you to everybody who has helped us get to over 158,000 subscribers. With that, we will be live tomorrow following Monday Night Raw. Again, you can follow us, subscribe right here on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Pro Wrestling ULTD. Follow us on Twitter at PW Unlimited. And always keep an eye up on the website, pwunlimited.net. Have a good night, guys. We'll see you tomorrow following Raw.